Welcome back. I'm here with the stars of the new film, Professor Marston, and the Wonder Women, Rebecca Hall, Luke Evans, and Bella Heathcote. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So off camera, we were talking about just how complicated Wonder Woman's backstory is. I had no idea. Did either of you all know?
I had no idea. You were all
I did, but only a couple years prior, because there was an article in the New Yorker that I happened to read, and then I was so bowled over by it. Aside from the kind of the quote-unquote sort of scandalous secret side of their personal life, there was also the fact that Wonder Woman was written by not a comic book writer, but a psychologist who was a very serious feminist who wrote it as propaganda for boys and men to try and teach them to respect female authority, because he believed that women should and could rule the world and make it a more peaceful place. And when I found that out, I was like, hang on a minute, I need to get back on the Wonder Woman comics.
That's right. Yeah. And realize how much these three, and him being a male vocal feminist in the 20s and 30s was quite sort of forward-thinking. He was quite a modernist.
This film is extremely progressive, and one of the things that's particularly progressive is the relationship that the professor has, the polyamorous relationship he has with the two loves of his life. What drew each of you to this project?
For me, it was really the sense that, you know, when you start reading this script, you sort of, you know, Professor Marston develops crush on young girl in student. You think, oh, okay, I've seen this before. You know how this is going to go, and do I really want to play the downtrodden wife who's gonna go, no, don't have an affair. And
or
then
the one who
2 pages later,
exactly,
who suffers in silence. 2 pages later, she's going, okay, let's take her out for a drink. And you and then follows what is an incredibly empowering, as conceived by our director and writer, Angela Robinson, you know, empowering version of a untraditional love story where the women are consenting, and it's discussed about how consenting they are, and they're bold and they're brave and they're very radical.
And Bella, your character could have easily been a stereotypical damsel in distress, and we see her journey from sort of wide-eyed ingenue to a woman who ultimately possesses a lot of the power in the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, you know, just blew me away when I read the script, and what I loved about Olive, this girl who's somewhat naive and unsure of herself, who's raised by nuns, even though she's, you know, the daughter of a staunch feminist, and then this journey that she goes on to become really sure of herself and know what she wants and sacrifice to get it, and this kind of journey of female empowerment, you know, it was amazing.
Clearly, one of my favorite lines, like, your character is related to two of the most famous feminists, and she's raised by nuns. That's great, by the way. Let's not shy away from the fact that there's some kinky stuff happening in this film. You've got bondage, S&M, threesomes. When you're playing a man who's supposed to anchor all of that going on, how do you approach it?
It's a very valid question, and it's something that we spoke about a lot, because this is the slightly speculative interpretational part of their relationship, which we've represented in the film, but it was something that he was very aware of his theory, which was dominance, inducement, submission, and compliance, which he believed these 4 categories of emotion would interplay in almost every social situation in life. At the time, he was aware that they represent this theory was represented very clearly within the domination and submission and all of those things, which then he paralleled very clearly in the early comic strip of Wonder Woman, where she will tie up a criminal and force them to tell the truth. You know, it's a domination to make someone be compliant. And he saw
bondage.
His theories were all completely interspersed.
It's crucial, because that's the female part.
That's right.
Wonder Woman, which ended up being a blockbuster this past summer, grossed over $800 million globally. That was a struggle to get it to the screen. Why do you think people have been reluctant to embrace Wonder Woman on the big screen? What is it about her that seems to...
It's hard to think of any other reason, it is significant that she was conceived as a peacekeeper, you know, and this is something that I think is maybe, you know, made her kind of sort of slightly controversial and strange in the beginning, is that she's not a kind of, she was never conceived as a sort of like go into battle and attack sort of character. She was there to destroy war.
Right.
because that is as a sort of feminine role was like to end all wars ever and no more violence and no more, and that is her sort of symbolic truth. And I think
Probably
it's
why she's so welcome now.
why she exactly that's what I was about to say. Is there's a kind of demand for her now. So finally she's getting her moment in more ways than one.
And she arrived right on time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for
Thank you
being
very
here.
Thank you.
Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman is in theaters everywhere October 13th.